long I think my wife has a boyfriend. So I have been married for almost 13 years and have two wonderful girls that are my everything. 2 years after we were married, after my first child, my wife enters into a relationship with someone we both work with. Lots of sneaking around, phone calls and text messages. I was very suspicious, but she just kept getting better at hiding it. It fell apart when his girlfriend and mother of his new baby found out and reached out to me. In the process, we become pregnant with my second girl. We move out of town, and about 2 years later a lesser version happened with who was my best friend. It wasn't as intense. He was a complete sleazebag, so it was easier to end. I did what I could to forgive my wife and move on. About 2 years later it all happens again. This time I found the emails of her sending pictures back and forth to a married man whose wife had to drive him to work every day because of all of his dues. Soon after a fling with someone else that we both worked with. Out of stupidity, love and fear of being separated from my kids, I forgive and move on. Each time I went through a process of her justifying her actions because I didn't measure up somehow, that we had lost our love, which was completely one-sided. That was about 5 years ago. I had gotten through a lot of the anger and trust issues and we were doing well until recently. She completely denies any inappropriate behavior, but I just keep finding evidence and I don't know how to process it. I saw red flags when this guy started spending a lot of time around our work, which to be fair was kind of part of his job then, with heightened suspicion. One day we split up with the children because she was too tired to go to the place my youngest wanted, so she was going straight home. My daughter had her phone and she didn't realize it. When she found out, she decided to go ahead and come to this place to get it. I take a wrong turn and go a few blocks out of my way, in which time she calls twice asking if we are still coming. I get a little upset when I finally get there and make a crack about worrying about who is calling her. She is then mad at me for the afternoon because it was inappropriate in front of my daughter. 2 weeks ago she was gone at a conference, and when she got back I happened to have had her phone, so I looked at the call log, and out of the blue during her conference she makes a 35-minute phone call to him on the last day. It could have been work, so I didn't instantly get upset, but it nagged at me. So the next morning I asked if she had spoken with him that week, to which she responded no. So I told her that I had seen her call log and that she had made a 35-minute call the day before. She nervously listed all the work-related things they talked about. I finally told her that I didn't want to hear any more. A week or so goes by and all of my anger is returned. I just feel so played. I held a very reasonable conversation with her where she kept denying that anything is occurring. I finally asked her if she could assure me that she hadn't been deleting text messages and calls. She admitted that she had, but that we all innocent, but that she was worried that it would make me angry. I am really at a loss. I am having a really hard time believing that the cover-ups that are going on are as innocent as she claims, but what if they are? I have come too far to let it all go over suspicion. In fact, with what we do it would mean uprooting our family and it will get really messy, and I always end up the bad guy for a while she comes to her senses. Just leaving isn't a clear option, especially because I would endure anything to be with my kids. Any advice or encouragement? Redditor's reactions. Story 2 after. Redditor 1, you have done far more than you ever should to keep your family together. It is now time to leave your wife, for your kids. Kids are perceptive and clever, they know everything's not okay. Perhaps you think you hide your anger and resentment, but I bet you don't. You were played the first time, and now you've let yourself be walked on and cheated on. Letting it all go now would not be because of suspicion, it would be because this woman has walked on you your entire relationship and clearly doesn't care about your family at all. What you need to do is both get a therapist and a lawyer. Make sure your lawyer helps you come up with a plan to leave your relationship with joint custody and reasonable support. What makes you think you wouldn't be with your kids, if you're the person filing for divorce and proactively presenting a plan to the court of how you can care for them? There's no reason joint custody isn't an option. Best of luck. Redditor 2, I'm counting 4 confirmed affairs in the past and 1 most likely ongoing. She doesn't sound like she has any interest in not sleeping with other guys or breaking your heart. Also, she became pregnant while having an affair? Do I need to say it? Redditor 3, why do you accept this? Once, maybe it's worth trying to fix it. Regardless of what the infidelity means to you or your marriage, your wife's reckless behavior puts you and your kids at risk for harm by revenge-seeking people, criminals, addicts. Whatever you want to tolerate with infidelity is your business, but your real-world problem is you don't know the danger your kids could be in from their mom's associations. Redditor 4, I never buy the idea that a cheater will always cheat again. I amend it to allow for change because people can change. But every time someone cheats with either same person or different people, it becomes more likely they won't change. After 3-4 confirmed affairs, that woman is habitual and will never stop. In fact, I'm going to say she doesn't love you. She doesn't love you or your kids enough to give them a stable home or just end it and give them a new home. Doesn't help that she keeps picking verifiable losers, which tells you a lot more about this behavior. Story 2. My niece 16F just showed me proof that her mom 40F is having an affair. My teenage niece called me in a panic today and asked me to pick her up to go for a car ride and have a chat. Her mom is my sister, and we come from a large close-knit family, so my niece has always felt like the younger sister I never had. We have often gone out for life advice car rides, so this wasn't totally unusual for us. I never suspected that she would show me photos of implicit text messages between my sister and my brother's childhood friend. This is some serious family breaking acid, and I am absolutely shocked to see that these two married individuals with families that we know well have gotten tied up in an affair together. Turns out my niece noticed her mom lied about her work hours last week, saying there was a special event and she would need to stay late at the office a few days. Her grandmother had called and was confused why her mom was gone, saying I spoke with her this morning and she said she was off by lunch today. When my niece asked where she had been, she was apparently dodgy and said she had managed to leave work early and went to dinner with some friends. Apparently she came home late with gifts and looking really nice for 3 nights in a row, so my niece decided to snoop around her mom's phone to see what she had been up to. She did not expect to find what she did. But she did. And now I know too. What the hell do we do now? This is a loaded gun and I have no idea how to approach this situation. I think I am still in shock. Advice appreciated. Edit. Wow, there has been a lot of feedback overnight. Thanks for the different perspectives. I'm going to talk to my niece again to make sure I prioritize supporting her because that seems most important, and we'll be confronting this together at some point over the weekend. Wish us luck. Redditors' reactions. Redditor 1. Okay op, the reason why your niece came to you is because she trusts you. Ensure her that no matter what happens, this isn't her fault and that it's her mother's alone. Then after your initial shock has waned off, contact your sister's husband and tell him about it. Make sure that you keep your niece's name out of it. Tell her that you found out on your own. Then make sure that the kid gets therapy. If her father is kept in the dark, your niece won't forgive herself and it can lead to future problems. Redditor follow-up. I would also make sure in this case that this is what your niece wants. Don't let her feel like she's set off an irreversible process just by consulting you for life advice. Redditor 2. The consequences of your sister's actions have caught up with her and unfortunately her own daughter is the catalyst. I'd say let your sister know. But also keep reassuring your niece to let her know that no matter what happens, she's not at fault. Redditor follow-up. That's the best bet. Make sure your niece knows that she's got nothing to feel guilty about. But you need to let your brother-in-law know. Redditor 3. You inform the spouses. It's not your call to shelter them from this. You will lose your brother if he finds out you knew about it and didn't tell him. Take your niece to your home and invite both of the betrayed spouses to lunch or dinner and inform them. Let them handle their problem. They might need to collect evidence for their divorce lawyers. Redditor follow-up. Op's sister is married and cheating on her husband with his best friend. Op's brother-in-law is the one who is getting cheated on. So it's more like her sister will be pissed at her for snitching, even though she started this entire ducked-up situation. But I got no love for cheaters and I agree brother-in-law and ex-best friend's wife need to know so they can decide how to move forward with their lives. Redditor 4. Tell your sister that the two of you are having a girls' night and staying at a hotel. Make sure she understands that it is about to get real and then hash it out with her and tell her she needs to come clean and deal with it. Redditor follow-up. Nah, tell the husband yourself, not your sister. If you tell the sister it just gives her a chance to form a different story and lie. If you tell him yourself you at least know that he will get the truth.